You really want to go back out into the cold?
More than ever.
Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome back to Trek Central. In today's video we're going back, forward in time, to get a second opinion on the medical mystery afflicting the legendary Jean-Luc Picard, and what impact it could have on the character's future in the Star Trek universe. As a reminder, this video will contain spoilers for Star Trek Picard, therefore you have been warned. Let's step back into the year of 2370, more specifically stardate 47988. Captain Picard has just reported to Councillor Deanna Troi and Lieutenant Worf that he's begun inexplicably moving back and forth throughout time. Picard explains that he is experiencing 3 different timelines, starting with when he first took command of the USS Enterprise D in 2364, his current point in time at 2370, and finally as an old man tending to the Chateau Picard vineyard in 2395. With the new series of Star Trek Picard being set in 2399, this is rather close. While Picard is experiencing time as his older self, he is visited by Geordi LaForge, whom after a small talk about Geordi's family and Picard's novel, admits that he's visiting to check on how Picard was holding up with his idiomatic syndrome. Now, a bit of context here. Idiomatic syndrome is a condition that affects the parietal lobe of the brain. The lobe is at the back of the brain and is divided into 2 hemispheres. It functions in processing sensory information regarding the location of parts of the body, as well as interpreting visual information and processing language and mathematics. The condition is the degradation of the synaptic pathways, causing confusion, hallucinations, and eventually death. After some more travelling through time, Dr. Beverly Crusher explained that there is no evidence of Picard having had hallucinations, or any kind of temporal displacement. Results of his biospectral scans also revealed nothing out of the ordinary. He suggested to her to scan for idiomatic syndrome, which he remembered hearing Geordi mention in the future. Scans show that there is a defect that could lead to the illness, but it is possible he could continue his life without developing it. Now the year in Star Trek Picard is now 2399. Picard, having just witnessed the death of Dahj, is looking to go back out into the cold and lead a mission to find her twin sister, with hopes of protecting her from the deadly Zhat Vash, who have a vengeance to kill her and any other form of synthetic life. However, before Jean-Luc Picard can get underway on this new mission, he must do the one thing that even World War III couldn't eliminate: bureaucratic paperwork. You see, Picard needs to pass a medical exam and be given clearance for interstellar space travel, before Starfleet would allow him to return to the captain's seat. Enter Dr. Moritz Benayoun, an old friend and likely the former chief medical officer from Picard's first command, the USS Stargazer. Picard transmitted a remote medical scan, albeit with a bit of technical trouble, to Benayoun's office, who stated he received a certificate to clear him for interstellar service, once the scans had been checked. However, much to Picard's own surprise, Moritz decided to pay him a visit at the vineyard. Clearly, to break the bad news, the doctor didn't just want to tell him over the communication channel. Picard's med scans came back at or above Starfleet minimum in every capacity, except for a little abnormality in the parietal lobe. For Trekkies who watched The Next Generation all those years ago, that no doubt rang bells of the episode All Good Things. Picard says, when Benayoun brings up the unnamed brain issues, that I was told a long time ago it might cause a problem eventually. This makes a connection to the scene where Dr. Crusher gave Picard his original diagnosis. Benayoun says the issue could lead to one of a variety of syndromes, some treatable, but all end up the same way, some sooner than others. Now the doctor, being friendly but harsh, says that he hopes Picard's adventures will kill him first before any type of syndrome could. This is kind of a harsh way to put it, but I can only assume that sudden death is more preferable than the later stages of this little syndrome. But perhaps we can expect it to be a progressive feature throughout the series of Picard actually getting worse. Okay, so now circling back, as mentioned above, one of the symptoms is hallucinations. Picard had occasional visions of jurors that leaked into the brains from Q's courtroom. I personally go on the assumption that these hallucinations were Q toying with Picard, using his condition as a cover-up, but they could have easily been actual hallucinations Picard was having there right in his vineyard. What do you think? Now we've covered what we know, here's what we think could mean for the future of Picard. Let's get into the theory side of things. So ultimately this begs the question, why would the writers bring this particular ailment up again? It wasn't mentioned at all in any of the 4 feature films, and any number of non-life-threatening reasons could have been given for Picard not to return to Starfleet or space. So why this and why now? Picard is usually a clear and level-headed officer, but may now be an unreliable narrator, which means we need to start keeping an eye out on any indications that may and may not be in his real mind's eye. It could potentially even lead him and his crew into some unfavourable situations. Hopefully it won't get to the end of an episode or the entire series and everything has been some sort of elaborate story in his mind, or used to the extent of being a convenient reset button for a lost cause. No, hopefully, if at all, it's going to be used carefully and tactfully. As sad as it may sound, and however much we may deny it, Jean-Luc is not going to be around forever. The very fact they've brought this issue up again may give foreshadowing to the eventual end of his journey, whether it be used as a way of his passing in the final or off-screen in a future series. Another way to go could be the end to his trial, which he's been a part of from the beginning, as an advocate to humanity, because as Q said in the Next Generation series final, the trial never ends.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? The trial never ends.
This could lead to Q offering him a place in a continuum, when it is his time, essentially Picard ascending to a higher plane of existence. The writers and creative team developing this series clearly have an end goal in sight for Picard in my opinion, else mentioning his syndrome would not really have been needed, though I can't imagine potentially writing the death of one of Starfleet's most decorated captains being an easy task, so good luck to them. When a possible syndrome was mentioned, I immediately thought that Jean-Luc could use a special sort of doctor, in the form of Beverly Crusher. We've not seen her in this series yet, and unless they're keeping her super secret, I'm not sure she'll appear in Season 1, but you could really imagine Crusher saving a day of somewhat healing Picard. I'm not fully sure of this idea, but it's an opportunity the creatives could take. So this ends our theory on the future of Jean-Luc Picard. What are your thoughts on the resurface of his idiomatic syndrome? Are there any other ways you think they could incorporate this syndrome into the series, or was it just another plethora of Easter eggs for us to keep an eye on and hear out for? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. We love hearing more of your fan theories on the subject. You can always come and tweet to us or post on Facebook, and you can also join other fans in our community Discord server. Again, I don't strongly believe that Jean-Luc Picard is dying. There's been a lot of chat about it, but we kind of wanted to get this theory out of the way and quickly discuss it, so do let us know your thoughts on it. Okay, we'll be back with brand new Star Trek Picard content throughout the week, so stay tuned for more. If you like this video and want to keep up to date with all things Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to subscribe to Trek Central here on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates, as well as visit our website for weekly articles. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thank you for watching Trek Central, and we hope you're enjoying the brand new series, and of course, we'll see you next time.